This is MJW Bigfoot reporting live from Elkton, Virginia. How to make a COVID-19 mask in 10 minutes. Materials needed are 100% cotton sheet, furnace filter material. It's easily bought in Walmart or most stores, hobby stores, hardware stores. It comes in big foldable, flexible accordion-like sheets, and you just tear it apart and cut the pieces you need out of it. One filter I bought for $15 was probably holds about 40, enough to make 40 masks, and it would take about 10 minutes to make. Here's my video. Just 100% shot cotton sheet. Your filter material. I cut this out of a tin can, but you can use wire. Just make a loop of wire or a single strand of wire. And embed the wire. You embed the wire in a piece of tape or the metal strip. Embed it in a piece of tape. That way when you staple, you can staple. You don't have to staple through the metal. You can staple through the tape. You put it behind the filter so your nose won't rub on it. You take from the top and fold over enough material. Well, I want to turn this around. It's a little bit too bright for me, so I'm going to use the white for the outside. But you just lay it there centered. See how it's centered? That's where your nose goes. Your nose lays in there on the metal band. Then you just take a stapler, and I like to staple it so the staples go to the outside. And you staple it on each side of the nose. Pretty simple. You pull it down, find dead center, raise it up. You raise it up and make a pleat. Put it pretty much dead center, or as close as you can get it to dead center. That's what stiffens the material up off your chin. It keeps the material, the mask material, from flapping against your mouth as you breathe in. It gives you a larger percentage of area. It's about 2 inches up, maybe an inch wide at the very bottom. See, it goes off the paper just a little bit. Then you flatten your pleat down. You flatten your pleat down. Of course, this will be inverted later on. Staple it a couple times. Then you lay your string through the bottom, fold it over. Staple it a couple times. It doesn't have to be perfect. Then you cut it here. You cut it here. You lay your string a loop what I like to do is take your string and make a loop. That's what's going to hold your mask. The loop can be wider if you want it wider. Well, it takes a while to get used to it. I've made about 20 of them so far. The loop can be wider if you want it wider. That's a pretty wide loop, and you lay it on the end of the mask like you're trying to lasso a horse. Fold your end piece over, staple it. The same thing with the other side. Only this time I'm going to use a rubber band. You can do it lots of different ways. We got a happy house here. This gives you a little bit of elastic. Somewhere I integrate a rubber band somewhere because I have strings on both sides, or I can integrate it like that. And I can also lengthen the rubber bands by tying loops, simple loops in the rubber bands to make it a little bit longer so that I can tie my string in. And I just make simple loops. I don't do a whole lot of fancy. I just typically figure about as big as a person's head, and I tie a loop. The same thing with the bottom one. I tie a rubber band in, and I just tie a simple loop like that, about as big as a person's head. Then I take the mask. This is almost finished. I got the top loop, the bottom loop. I take the mask and I give it one pleat. Here's the part at the bottom that's stiffer from this chin cone. This is made to give you, it pushes the fabric out so you don't have this coming against your mouth when you're breathing. And you just take and pleat it one time. Doesn't have to be perfect. We don't argue here. We just do it, and then we just throw it in the basket, and we just make another one. If it's not perfect, you can fold it back a little bit to neaten it up. Trim it off if you want. Trim anything off. You see, then once you invert it, it makes that natural shape that you want. Then you take your nose guard and just keep looping it. Put a loop in it, and a little bit of a, so it'll go down on the side of your nose, and then you just put it on. Put it on. If your rubber bands are too tight, you can adjust it. There's no air leaks at all here. It looks like it is, but it's a pretty good mask. It takes a while to make a few of them, but it's one plate on one side, one on the other, to bring it together a little bit. And it's just a rubber band goes straight through the bottom, it goes around your chin. If you want to, you can pull it down, or you can just pull the bottom up, and it gives you a little more air. If it gets too hot for you and you want to get a little more air, you can just pull it up on your chin. So I like about it, it's flexible. This is a MJW Bigfoot design that started yesterday about 7 o'clock. I worked till 2 a.m. trying to design this COVID-19 mask. The allergen ratio is number 1500. I bought the highest quality furnace filter that money could buy. It was $15.98. I'll probably make about 30 or 40 masks. Happy COVID-19 holiday.